you so much, Mr. Amit, for the very generous introduction. I'm also excited to be here. Thanks to Advocate Rajat and his team for having me here. I'll share my presentation. So I hope everyone can see it. Yeah, thank you. So this is a very complex topic, very exciting topic. This topic of autonomous vehicles comes under the themes of sustainable mobility or smart transportation. It's a very complex technology. It has been made a reality today with a lot of efforts to develop the various components of the technology. Let us have a look at some of the challenges towards its implementation or various other challenges. First of all, we must be very clear about the terminology that has been used, that is being used around the term autonomous or automatic vehicles. A lot of vehicles are available today on the roads, which are having features of automation or smart features. But these cannot be called autonomous vehicles for the simple reason that they all involve human beings for driving tasks. So what is a truly autonomous vehicle? So Society of Automotive Engineers, they provide a classification system, 6-level classification from level 0, which is totally manual operation, to level 5, which is totally automatic. And level 1 and 2, what we talk about automatic smart features, they all belong to mostly level 1 and 2. But the real autonomy starts from level 3 onwards. So what is the difference between 3 and 4 or 5 is level 3, the machine will be in charge of taking all the driving decisions, but it will hand over to the driver if necessary. And level 4, the machine will do all the driving tasks except when under certain circumstances, it will expect the driver to take over. If the driver cannot, it will put the vehicle in a very safe position. So 4 and 5 are really highly autonomous levels. So today we don't have mass scale adoption of autonomous vehicles, although they are available. And autonomy is very much possible, or it is already achieved in autonomous flights, drones, space shuttles, or even agriculture. So certain sectors, autonomy is possible because of maybe the low level of complexity involved in driving. So what really makes autonomous vehicles possible? So human beings can perceive their surroundings and take driving decisions. Like they can see the road ahead. If some obstacles are there, they can brake. Or if it is a clear road, they can accelerate. They can take appropriate actions at the signals, so on and so forth. So likewise, in an autonomous vehicle, software is in charge. It's like a brain of the machine. So it is supported by various modules like LiDAR, radar, ultrasound, or the video cameras. Maybe at least it will require two or three cameras because they have different function. And it can use the maps and GPS or enhance means to GPS for its navigation functions. It can communicate with other vehicles or to service provider stations, or vehicle to vehicle or vehicle to infrastructure communication it can carry out. And the software is the heart. It will take the inputs from all these hardware, and it will perceive its surroundings. It will plan a tape, take appropriate actions to brake or accelerate or avoid collision, but it is really helped by a machine learning algorithm which is trained on historical data. So here it is the core technology where the machine becomes a decision maker. So probably now you may appreciate some of the technicalities involved in autonomous vehicles. Now we may wonder why to develop such a complex technology. Now there is some rationale behind this kind of developments because human errors are responsible for 94% of the accidents as per some statistics available. They lead to a lot of deaths, they lead to a lot of cost, and they lead to a lot of traffic conditions. They lead to lost productivity or stress. And we know that drivers have a very different level of skills. So they are prone to create mistakes or accidents. And because of the driving conditions, the fuel consumption could be very high. There will be a lot of emissions in the environment. And so there's this technology of autonomous vehicles really provides an opportunity for providing safe transport and inclusive uh, transportation. So as of today, just recently, Tesla has achieved autonomous delivery of a vehicle. That means it was an autonomous vehicle which was delivered to the customer autonomously. So very exciting development. But as of now, most of the countries, including USA, they don't offer autonomous vehicles. They are also called self-driving or driverless cars. But I don't like personally the term driverless because there is a driver available. So the mass, I mean, on a large scale, these vehicles are not available for various reasons. It's not the reason for only for technology because maybe the infrastructure, regulations, and whatnot. And what are features that we see in our vehicles, as I already told, they belong to level 1 or 2. Autonomy is, of course, we have seen, recent our interaction with, the war with our neighbor. A lot of, autonomously we guided the various uh, weapons and carried out the war without crossing the boundaries. So that was sort of an autonomy displayed there. So if we consider the Indian scenario, as I have already touched upon that some smart features are available like live cruise control, lane keep assistance, or lane departure warnings, collision warnings, so on and so forth. But the development of autonomous vehicles is going on in a very lukewarm manner because regulations are not there. But nevertheless, so we can see a lot of startup activity in that area. Established players include surprisingly Wipro, which has 40 patents in this area. They also have a demo vehicle. And Tata Motors has just filed a patent for AV technology. And sir, IIT Madras is actively carrying out research in this area. So why file patent, or what is the rationale? What is the link between technology development and patents? So patent systems encourage new ideas and technology development by providing certain rights to the inventors or applicants. These rights are subject to certain conditions, as already some of the speakers have told, like there has to be some novelty, inventive step, and the invention must not belong to the barred category. And the incentives that are available to the inventors include they can showcase their R&D capabilities. As Mr. Fournier touched upon some of these aspects, like their investments are protected they are getting an exclusivity for a period of 20 years to develop and monetize their invention. The inventors can monetize the inventions through licensing, outright sell. They can attract investments from investors, or they can also collaborate with other companies or even with competitors who can leverage in transactions through cross-line sensing or such other agreements. Even there is IP-backed finance. So I think there are a lot of opportunities available to inventors if they have granted patents in this area. That is why we see a lot of activity or a race to protect, again, protection or exclusivity in this area. So from for a 10-year period starting from 2010 to 20, we see a continuous rise in patent filing activity. And the patent filing activity is dominated by China to a very large extent, like to the extent that 60 to 70% of the filed patents come from China. And the major players include United States, Japan, Germany, South Korea. And but there is a major difference between US and China. If you see the patent grant or acceptance ratio, is much higher for US than compared to China. The reason being in China, many non-practicing entities are active, like maybe universities or startups and internet companies. So that gives a very different picture in the jurisdiction of China. If you see the top industrial players, again, the Chinese company Baidu, which it is an internet company. It is a top filer, followed by some automotive giants. So what are the challenges if we talk about challenges related to patents in the area of autonomous vehicles? We can we can appreciate that the R&D or technology development will be encouraged by regulations. But there are no regulations in most of the countries, or even in countries where regulations are there, they are existing to encourage testing and like sort of development rather than full-fledged certification of the vehicles. So there are a lot of uncertainties and risks. Especially we have seen that the patenting activity starts before 2010, from the year 2000. And if many companies had filed patents at that time, probably they are going to expire. And many of the patents that have been filed, they are going to expire. And still there are no regulations. So this is a big challenge. And there are really very large number of actors, diverse actors in technologies. The companies which have filed patents, they are, like internet companies, telecommunication companies, startups, individuals, as well as educational institutions. So the type of technologies that are being protected, they are very different. Now, what happens is if somebody wants to invent, go ahead with his inventions, and he needs an assessment whether he has the freedom to operate or whether it is patentable in light of the prior art. So really the prior art there is huge prior art out there. Some of it is not published also, and he cannot take a proper decision. It also becomes difficult for the patent professionals or patent examiners in the patent office, or even to judges to, give a verdict or give a decision or some kind of opinion regarding patentability or freedom to operate or invalidity or infringement. So this is really, I think, technology research and especially assessment skills will become very critical for the patent professionals as well as inventors. Now, for the technology to really become mainstream, there should be some technical standards around which people can develop and offer their technologies. So unfortunately, not a lot of technical standards have come forward, but standard and not many companies have offered their technologies for, you know, to as candidates for standard essential patents, except the players that are active in communication technologies. So a lot of development needs to be done in that area. To cite some case studies, I tried to find out how many like litigations are there in light of the fact that thousands of patents exist. Fortunately or unfortunately, very few litigations to the extent of, they're in just double digits, whereas the patents are in thousands. So probably it indicates that even the patent rights owners, they are not sure of their rights. One such case was, uh, involved Waymo, which is a subsidiary of Google. They brought a suit for patent infringement and misappropriation of proprietary know-how. When one of their employees, he left Waymo, but he had carried a lot of information with him, proprietary information, and he formed his own company, Auto, and then later on that company was purchased by, I mean, it was taken over by Uber. Uber came out with its own self-driving vehicle or semi-autonomous vehicle, maybe, and it infringed. Waymo alleged that it infringed a particular patent, 936 patent. It is quoted here. And Uwe tried to, invalidate the patent, which is the usual defense available in infringement cases. They could not, and they settled for an amount something like 245 million, and they also promised that they will develop their own technology. They'll give up the technology developed by Waymo. Surprisingly, later on, an individual, he invalidated 53 out of 56 patents in the patent of Waymo, which was actually asserted successfully earlier. So very surprising, but it indicates that you cannot never be sure about the validity of a patent, even if it is granted. The patent office never assures of the validity. So it's another challenge that when you have a lot of filings, you must be sure about asserting or enforcing your patent. Another case was involved Velodyne. It had made a complaint that its LIDAR technology was a patent related to that, and Ouster had been active in illegal importation of that technology. So they asserted, and its patent was held actually valid by the Federal Circuit Court, so Court of Appeals in the Federal Circuit. They had like upheld, but subsequently these two companies merged. So they realized that probably they'll be doing a disservice to their clients. Whereas after the merger, they could, service around 850 of their clients combined in this area of LIDAR technology. So sometimes the outcome is, not very logical. They follow whatever is convenient. So another aspect of the semi-autonomous vehicles are that they can be involved in accidents. Sometimes they can be cause of accidents, just like the Tesla when it was put in an autopilot mode, it ran into a 18-wheel truck. but it was decided that Tesla was not at fault. Another case involved Volvo truck. It killed a bystander. Again, Uber was not at fault. But there were a total of 696 cases involving Waymo cars. Not necessarily Waymo was responsible for all these incidents, but in many incidents where, Waymo cars called sort of a pile up on the roads, it led to such incidents, led to, recall of thousands of their vehicles. So it can be very costly, especially it may not happen in today's scenario. If suppose, let's say, Tata car is involved in accidents, they will not recall all there. But in such a scenario, calls for investigation, and probably the manufacturer has to take a proactive action. So the regulatory environment, speaking of the regulatory environment for the vehicles, we know that transportation as such is a very heavily regulated environment where there are regulations not only for roadworthiness of the vehicle, certifications, but the owner or the driver has to have a license. Insurance is mandatory. There are procedures for accident investigation and how to fix the liability for civil or criminal cases, mostly involving drivers in today's scenario. But how to, do the same thing, like how to fix the liability in autonomous driving mode. So the Vienna Convention on Road Traffic is a regulation that, based on which all the traffic laws throughout the world have evolved. So the Article 8 and Article 13, they mandate that drivers should be in control of the vehicle at all times. So after the development of autonomous vehicles, the Article 8 was modified and suitable legislations have been enacted in jurisdictions such as Europe or UK, but they are not comprehensive at the present. They mostly sort of encourage the testing of these vehicles, certification of these vehicles, or suitability of these vehicles for driving conditions. So what could be the liability issues associated with autonomous vehicles? As we know, driving accidents can attract civil or criminal liability, and the current regulation, especially in India, relate to human errors. But if we turn the attention to, let's say, semi-autonomous, fully autonomous vehicles, then the question comes whether AI can be treated as an entity. How to treat basically an autonomous vehicle, whether the responsibility will be on the owner or the manufacturer, or the AI can be treated just like any other company, for example. So, and what will be the criminal liability? Whether, especially coming to the insurance issues, like whether the company or the owner need to pay insurance or they need to share it. Insurance also, companies also have the option of pay-as-you-drive systems, because it sort of encourages proper driving. And product liability issues also could be there, but they are very complex because individuals will have to face the burden of proof that they'll have to prove, and sometimes it can become a highly complex issue. So UK and in jurisdictions such as UK and EU, they have produced a lot of reports to their regulators or to the parliament so that these gaps can be addressed. So my concluding thoughts, basically, there are still some concerns, although the technology is almost very mature now. We have level 3 or 4 vehicles, at least level 4 vehicles are available under certain controlled driving conditions. And also we have seen that level 5 is actually available. But companies like Tesla, they are very focused, but not, they're not creating a lot of publicity around their developments. So development is outpacing regulations. Regulations are really not ready, especially in countries like India, where there will be a lot of development in the infrastructure will be needed to facilitate these technologies. And how to measure the say, okay, we can probably test the functionality of these vehicles, but are they really reliable? So currently there are no protocols, and some alternative methods will have to be evolved. And there is a concern, of course, that there will be loss of jobs or revenue, because driving, employs around 4 million people in India. And there could be a lot of loss of revenue for repair companies, insurance companies. And in fact, it may lead to increased fuel consumption and emissions, because a lot of people will start enjoying, commuting. So concluding remarks, there are still challenges for adoption. In India, actually, the conditions are very chaotic, and commotion is involved in driving. And we don't know can we really come on par with the Western countries in this respect. And public acceptance also depends on different attitudes, because some people enjoy driving. Most people find it's very stressful. Regulators face a lot of challenges, because they'll have to prepare the society, prepare the infrastructure, bring in a lot of regulations, and facilitate technological developments, so on and so forth. And one big question probably that comes is, we are justifying autonomous vehicles that because human errors cause accident, but is it a only option, or is whether it's a robust option? Only time will tell. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.